You're very welcome to Euroballs, episode 5 in partnership with Ladbrokes. It's our Euro 2020 show here on Balls.ie with me, Mick McCarthy, and joined as always by Kevin Doyle to look ahead to the quarterfinals. Kevin, it's kind of sneaking up on us now. We'll have Gabby Agbonlahor back on with us next week to do the semi-finals and finals, but the tournament is really shaping up. It was a big, it was probably the best day we've ever seen of tournament football, many people said 2 days ago. And then yesterday, the games didn't live up to it, but in some ways that there's as many talking points, and obviously England through to a quarterfinal with Ukraine. People just, there's a sense of almost disbelief that even Sweden didn't go and make it even a slightly less handy quarterfinal for them.
I really enjoyed yesterday. Obviously the day before, fantastic. The Spain game. And then I missed the first half of the France game. I was driving home from Dublin after doing the Spain game, and I missed the first half of the second half in extra time. Made up for that. And then yesterday, I really enjoyed the Ukraine game. Just so interesting how they really, by the skin of their teeth, got through. And then everyone's writing them off against Sweden. Not me, Mick. Not me. Nope. I didn't write them off. Just because how they qualified for it and their form coming into the Euros. Like, they beat France, or they drew with France in the World Cup qualifiers, and they beat, or they drew with France and beat Spain, or the other way around. But, they topped their group, 4 points ahead of Portugal, all these different reasons. And then they were so useless in the first 3 games. And you're wondering, where's their form gone? But they showed last night why they were that sort of, why they were in form coming into the tournament. They changed the way they played last night and things like that. So I just enjoyed the different intrigue and how Shevchenko changed his formation, went against his sort of principles, put everyone behind the ball, and how he got the players to buy into that a good bit. So really interesting, different to the day before, but still good stuff.
Yeah. One of the big talking points of that game, I didn't expect to be started with Sweden and Ukraine, but it is the most recent game played, and it's one of the most interesting things was the sending off, and I've never seen such a dichotomy almost between the former player, automatically, and I think you might be the only one that isn't saying that, where it's it's a red card. It's not a red card. How could it be? What's he supposed to do? Versus the sort of journalist class and the nerd football fan who loves the rule book, all kind of saying, it absolutely is a red that has changed. And people are so adamant about it. You had a really interesting point, but people might have missed it, because I think the first chance you got to talk about it was the really brief chat you had at halftime, and extra time was the first time the panel were able to come on about the way referees look at that is actually communicated to players every season.
Yeah, you sit in a meeting before the season starts with the referees, and they go through a big, an hour and a half, and they'll show you clip after clip of different decisions and why they make them. And they'll show something very similar to what we saw last night, and they'll go around the room and ask everyone, what do you think? Sending off, not sending off? And everyone will, like last night, be like, it's not a sending off. He didn't mean it. He won the ball, and it's just his follow through happened to catch the player. And they will invariably turn around and say, no, it is a sending off. His foot was high. It doesn't matter that he won the ball. He's out of control after winning the ball. It's endangering the player's health, as it was. His studs were shown. They'll give you a list of reasons of why it was a sending off. Just because he won the ball first, to them is not a reason enough that what happens after doesn't count. That they take the whole thing into account. And if you oh God, it's terrible to watch that clip and then see his leg afterwards. But and it's still at the end of the meeting, we'll still all be like, but it's still not a sending off. But in fairness, they sit down and explain why they give that reason then. And I can understand it. Like, if you were, I forgot his name now, the Ukraine player last night, that's your leg. Someone saying, well, he won the ball, ain't going to help you too much. Well, he won the ball, and he came through then a split second later and caught me with his studs up at my knee. So you can really make an argument both ways. And I feel sorry for obviously for both players. I know I'm sort of sitting on the fence with that answer, but it's this unique sort of situation where there is no, right or wrong, or it happens, and you have to. And the ref is, for the rules of the ref, he sends them off. I knew that the minute it went to the VAR and he went to check it, I knew he was sent off. Just having been in those meetings and been explained the situation from their point of view.
Sure. So it's more of a case of where the foot is at any point, rather than I kind of had a couple of arguments that you can't referee by consequence either. It's not if he hadn't hurt him, would it have been a sending off? And then you also can't, there's an issue in football, I think, with who's entitled to a certain amount to space as well, and that the Ukraine player did actually come into that.
Yeah.
The ball was kicked in. I mean, there was an issue in the England game yesterday where the Wembley crowd and the commentators and everybody went mad because Saka jumped across a clearance and was caught, but surely the German defender was the person entitled to that space in the first place. But I suppose the issue here is if that ball requires you to lift your foot dangerously to kick it, then it's not a kickable ball. Is that kind of what we have to come to terms with as football fans and footballers?
Like, yeah, it's a consequence of a millisecond of a couple of different things happening, and if the Ukrainian player doesn't go in there, it doesn't get, if he clears that and he misses him by a millimeter, it's not a free and the ref does nothing about it. It's just because they're basically explaining to us, you have to be aware of you and what you're doing, whether you're clearing it and winning the ball first or whatever. You have to be in control of your body and be able to make sure you're not breaking someone's leg, even by clearing the ball. You might do the right thing, but they're trying to make it as safe as possible, and that's the way they explain it to us. And you have to sort of go along with that at times and go, yeah, in fairness, when I put myself in the Ukrainian player's position, I wouldn't feel bad about it. I wouldn't think, your man said, obviously he wasn't out to do it, he was clearing the ball, but they're trying to clean up football as much as possibly can, and that's the way they're going about it. You can agree or disagree. It's so difficult to get it right on that, Mick. It's just their interpretation of it. You break it down to anything. You can argue over anything. I played centre forward, right? So I'm trying to hold up a football, and you're glancing to see where the centre half is and everyone goes, oh look, he looked at the centre half there, so he was using his body he looked at the centre half, he was looking at the ball, but you're looking at the centre half to where he is, so you know where to shield the ball. But everyone sees it on camera and go, he's looking at the centre half, he's not looking at the ball, that's a free, he's trying to block the centre half coming through and whatever. So there's so many interpretations of different things, and there's just anyone can have their point of view, and a lot of times everyone is right. There is no right or wrong answer.
I think that's actually a really important point. It was one you made last night, you're making again now. Everybody is so black and white on this, and everybody is angry, and it's actually quite complicated, and there is, they have to try things to clean up the game, but sometimes players can be very unlucky in that situation. Yeah. Anyway, it leaves us with England, Ukraine. We don't know whether it obviously cost Sweden the game or not. I think it would have, at the very least, petered out the penalties at that stage. But England's situation, so bear with me on this now, but there was a conversation a lot yesterday about England's playing. We knew it was going to happen from early on, basically playing 8 defensive players with 2 holding midfielders, a back 5, and just a 3 up front then with Kane, Sterling and Saka. Just because they won, that conversation is a little bit out the window now. But I don't know if necessarily, the ends do justify the means. So Gareth Southgate is well entitled to play this way and stuff. But there's a part of me that thinks of, do you remember in Italia 90 when there was, everybody didn't care how, because Ireland were in the World Cup and everyone was there. And then there was a small cohort led by Eamon Dunphy was like, why can't we do it better? We've got really good players. Why can't we not bore the whole world and play this way and still be in the World Cup? Now, you can't prove a hypothetical.
Yeah.
But does it also make the people who say, why can't England use Foden and Mount and Grealish wrong just because they beat Germany 2-0, a poor German team?
Yeah. And that's football. There's always a divide as well. I find anyway, between most of the time attacking minded players or people who and people who are more into the tactical defensive side of things. Everyone has a point of view. Gareth Southgate was a centre half, so centre halves are always more cautious as managers. If I played under, just in my career, I played under Steve Coppell, his view of a game of football is totally different to Mick McCarthy's view when it came to what he wanted his strikers to do and how he, was different feelings and cautiousness. So that's Gareth Southgate's view, and I admire his. England managers in the past, to me, have done what the crowd wanted, done what the papers wanted, try to fit Lampard, Beckham, Scholes, like Gerrard, all into a team, try to keep everyone happy. Whereas he seems to me, I admire him, not how they're playing particularly, but just how he's stuck to his belief in his formula, and he's got fantastic players on the bench, and he's not using them because he wants to play a certain way, and he's stood. You get the feeling he puts so much into the analysis and the behind the scenes stuff, the training, all the little details that go on behind the scenes, and not just who's popular at the moment with Man City fans, or who's popular in the Premier League, or who's had a good 6 months. He looks a lot deeper into it. And I don't think England have done that in the past. But saying that, wouldn't you love, like, Grealish, Foden, Sancho couldn't even get on the bench in the first game. Speaking to Didi Hamann about it, he's had a fabulous season in Germany, a player who's going for maybe 100 million to Manchester United or close to it, and he can't even get on the bench for a few games, and you're thinking what ammunition he could use. But obviously he's years doing this as England manager, and probably years planning for this tournament, even building up. They're always saying, in the last tournament before, he was saying we're still in the building process and we've got these players coming through, and now they're sort of at that stage where it's time to do it. And he's spent so long getting to this, and he's sticking to what he believes in, and all the analysis and detail that they go in. And when you go to like St. George's Park, where they're based and all that stuff is based, you want to see the amount of people that have behind the scenes working on all this and all the details and every little single element of why he picks those players. Anyway, it's months and months of studies gone into that.
Yeah. And yet me, with absolutely no study at all, thinks, you know what, one day you're going to bring Jack Grealish off the bench at 0-0, and he's not going to change the game immediately, because that's not the way football works in 20 minutes. And you're going to be caught, and you're going to go out in penalties to Denmark in the semi-finals.
Yeah. That's the spirit, mate. Anyway, you just get over Jack Grealish, because he ain't going to be there. You ain't going to be at Villa in a month's time. So
that's what I'm saying. He's not the be-all and end-all, Kevin. No, but do you agree with your old pal Duffer that Ukraine have absolutely no chance? He's never been more convinced of anything in his life.
I know. Jeez, that's a brave statement from Duffer, because he was going that way before the game against Sweden as well. So he really came out on a limb there. I wouldn't say they've absolutely no chance, because it's one-off game. You never know. The extra time and all won't help them. They look. Ukraine look bet, as in physically wrecked from the first minute of the game. Never mind 120 minutes. Yarmolenko was so good technically, but he's trying to believe in Shevchenko and get behind the ball last night. But he's so tired defensively, and it's amazing how much energy he has the minute to win the ball back. He's flying around the place. But you know what? They changed the formation. They put everyone behind the ball, and it could be, you're talking about those players England on the bench. Like, they don't need two sitting defensive midfielders against Ukraine. They need people to be able to break down 11 people behind the ball. They do need to have a tactical, a bit more excitement about them. Because 11 people behind the ball doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You could be playing my local men's team here. If we got organised to put 11 people behind the ball and made it difficult for you, it can be frustrating, and things don't go your way and you miss a couple of chances. And then all of a sudden, Ukraine have a bit of technical ability to break, and not just a bit, they have some good players. Like on the bench last night, I was talking about beforehand, Milenko or Malinovsky at Atlanta, really good. He's on the bench. He was a fabulous player. Seen all that, doing the study on all these games for Atlanta in the second half of the season, the goals and assists, and he was their player of the year. Like, he was on the bench, he came on last night. Like, there's players that can make a difference if they can keep it tight for a long period. And they're a team who've got a get out of jail free card. They really should have been gone home after a group stage, and now they're so buoyant, and everything is a bonus now. The cards is brilliant. So that's a dangerous thing to come up against. So I wouldn't. This England should win. They should. They're stronger. They're definitely fitter. They're going to run more. They're technically got bigger, better squad, but it's football, and that's why it's interesting. France should have beat Switzerland on paper. Everyone said France should win that. That's going to be easy, and it wasn't. So I'd never go out on as much as a limb as Duffer did last night.
No, most of us wouldn't actually. That was a very brave statement. We work backwards through the other games. There's 3 other quarterfinals to talk about. Denmark, Czech Republic. I've talked to you a good bit about my excitement around Denmark. They hammered Wales. They absolutely, that was the complete performance we were waiting for. After half an hour, that's fair to say, they probably didn't actually start that well in that game, but once they got going, they did. But the Czechs, I suppose, we haven't talked about all that much. I mean, like, watching them, I think the only full game I've watched them with before the Dutch game was the Scottish game, and just thinking, like, this is a really well put together team. Like, even the like Souček, obviously we all know about, but everybody around them, like, good solid footballers. They're going to be always hard to beat no matter who plays them, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. And they don't get sucked out too much either, and they don't open up the pitch and get left light at the back. They're very solid and organised, and they have a person up front who's in form. A player who's having the tournament of his career, I suppose. He's gone for a lot of money, a couple of massive transfers, and probably goes under the radar. We don't see it as much as we're so concentrated on England. Like I don't know, one of the lads was asking me, "Did you think this could get his big transfer? This could be a big transfer." I was like, he's gone for 45 million and 30 million previously, so I think he's had his big transfers, and he's playing the Bundesliga. Schick, I'm on about, and he's scored some fabulous goals. We've seen him, probably the goal of the tournament, great goal again the other night. So when you have a player like that in your team, full of form, you just need everyone else to be fairly decent and try keep it tight and set them up. And they're very evenly matched, both teams. I would say Denmark on paper have a slightly stronger squad. When you go through, we were all talking about Denmark and great team spirit and how well they've bounced back from the Christian Eriksen thing. But when you actually go through their squad, it's not just great team spirit. They're fabulous players, all playing for top clubs in Europe. So really going to be a really close match. I do think Denmark are on such a buzz though. I wouldn't bet against them in this one, but it'll be close game.
Yeah, I don't know their injury situation, but obviously they lost Eriksen and like Kjær went off injured. They already had
that's a big loss. Yeah.
Someone else as well, and you're thinking, Jesus, if that continues, there's only so much the spirit can get you through if you're playing a virtual. If you're losing all of your best players, so hopefully that's not too bad. But that's going to be an interesting one in its own way. It might not be the greatest, most exciting game of football. Would that be fair to say? You never know in this tournament, though, do you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Denmark's games have been brilliant to watch. So
they have, yeah.
So I don't want to say I don't know. I really don't know. They both got players who can be game changers. Denmark have been going for it. They haven't just been sitting back and getting a 1-0 lead and we'll hold on here. They're getting 1-0 and they're going again and going again and going again. So I don't want to write it off as not going to be a good game, because if Denmark. I hope Denmark continue in the same vein of let's just go for this. Really enjoyable, pressing high up the pitch, creating chance after chance and scoring goals. So, I hope your man Damsgaard for them, the young fella, who's 20, brilliant. He quite doesn't have the legs to last the game. He always gets tired around 65, 70 minutes, gets taken off, but he's been really effective up to that point.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't wait for it. Switzerland, Spain, 5-5 draw, I'm sure, after what happened the last time. Look, Spain did, you've been kind of a little bit higher on Spain over the course of the tournament, and while they got a fright or whatever, in at parts they were very good the other night, but do you think Switzerland, I don't think, got enough credit for their part in that match? Even here's a very small thing that's nothing to do with it, but 5 perfect penalties, as well. Well, maybe 4. Well, Lloris got his hand to one of them, but just the spirit to come back, the fact that they were just never beaten all the way through, the fact that they played very well when they were 1-0 up for a long time in that game as well before France did score. I thought they were great. They were actually I was just as a kind of you're watching it for an underdog and you get more and more behind them as the game goes on, and I was just I would have been so proud of that team if I was a Swiss fan,
Yeah, definitely. And they nearly went 2-0 up. They missed the penalty. And then obviously France scored a minute later. I think that's it now. And then 3-1. And that's, better than even their performance. To come back from 3-1 against France shows that they've really got something about them mentally. And their third goal, what a quality goal that was. It wasn't just lump stuff into the box in the last few minutes and try get a goal, try get a legalizer. It was a really, really good goal, a fantastic finish. In saying all that, I think Spain will win it. The other night, they were 3-1 up with 10 or 15 minutes to go, Spain, and the only reason they got back to 3-3 is because they were making subs just to give lads a run, and they thought the game was over. Enrique was hugging and high-fiving lads as they came off, and they just basically took their foot off the gas and got caught cold. I don't think that'll happen again. They create so many chances. That's the one where it's been Morata, brilliant goal the other night, great for him to get a goal.
Yeah.
But in leading up to that again, you just sense he just doesn't believe any time he's going to score. And the amount of chances they create, he could still be top scorer in the tournament. I think he's got
2 now, yeah.
2 now, yeah. He should be top scorer with the chances he's had. So, but that was a really good goal the other night. That might give him that little bit more belief. I said he's 2 goals now in the tournament, but it won't be for lack of chances created, Spain. And I think seeing him again the other day, they went to injury time or extra time, I know that, but I think they deserved to win it in the 90. The goal against him, the keeper the back keeper had a horror show. So that won't happen again. So yeah, I'm going to go for Spain.
Yeah, and like like regardless of it not being 2018 Croatia, it's still a good team that they beat. Well,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, it was probably more than the 5-3 that after extra time that it seemed. So Spain to win that one. Switzerland beat them in the first game of the 2014 World Cup when Spain were gone for the 3 tournaments in a row. They came back from that one, I remember, but I remember that being a shock. But it's a long time ago now. Italy Belgium is the one everybody's looking forward to. Kevin, this is on Friday night, and Belgium, like, they're without De Bruyne and Hazard, it looks like, who would both come back into the team after original injuries and way into form. And this was looking to be a very exciting team. But neither of these were as good in the last 16 as we wanted them to be. And I know Belgium beat Portugal, and we shouldn't exactly, be criticizing them because you need to just win matches at this stage. But I don't know, we were just expecting a little bit more from both of them.
Yeah, I was doing that game. I was really looking forward to it, and yeah, terrible game. A real bore fest actually for long periods. This is going to be tough for Belgium. They were, De Bruyne and Hazard bought out. De Bruyne even more so, I suppose, than Hazard. Obviously lost, and they really struggled against Denmark without them. When they brought them on, then they played fantastic in the second half against Denmark. But without them, they were very average. Their back three is, while being really experienced and fabulous in the past, they are aging and they are slow. Vertonghen, I go through clips of him on his arse. Yeah, that would be my worry. Italy, while they weren't great against Austria, wasn't it? In the
Austria,
yeah. They showed so much before that in the group stage. I'm just thinking Italy in this one. I know before the tournament I really fancied Belgium, but that changes when they lose. They lose De Bruyne and Hazard. Big losses for them, and I just think defensively Belgium will struggle, and then without them too. Yeah, I'm changing what I know. I'm going against what I said at the start of the tournament, but I'm going for Italy in this game.
Okay, so your semi-finals will be Italy versus Spain and England versus. Did you go for Denmark in the end? Just about the shaded, I think.
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. I think everybody would take that, but we've got two good days to look forward to on Friday and Saturday before we get to the semi-final stage. Should be very exciting. Enjoy the games that you're on for, and the games that you're not as well.
Even more so, I enjoy them.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll talk to you along with Gabby on Monday. We look ahead to the semi-finals. It'll be a football's coming home special on Monday as we look ahead to England semi-final. But we'll talk to you then, Kevin. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, I think you should not have me on that show, actually, Nick, and just leave Gabby to talk that one out.
We'll get on James McLean instead. No.
Yeah. Don't go there. Move on.
Don't go there. Thanks a million to Kevin. Have a great weekend. If you're having a bet on the Euros or anything like that, please always gamble responsibly. Visit dunlewy.net for more information. Check out Ladbrokes after 10 a.m. on match days, on Euro 2020 match days, for great with 5-a-side offers such as €1 free bets and so on and so forth. So always do check there. We'll be back with you on Monday, as I said, for more Euroballs with Kevin Doyle and Gabby Agbolahor. So join us then.